use a little bit of the text. So we're going to talk today about seeking peace, not power. Avoid symbolic ego victories. The desire to maintain a position of superiority by making others feel stupid, wrong, clumsy, or inadequate is a popular bad habit. These little victories, which one wins at the expense of another's self-esteem, are called empty or symbolic victories because they lack substance. No one profits from statements such as, "I told you that you shouldn't have tried to fix it yourself, you idiot." Or, "How can you go out looking like that, you slob?" Or, "How could you have been so stupid as to leave the tickets at home?" Or, "I told you to do your homework and not wait till the last minute, dummy." Seemingly innocent or teasing sarcastic remarks also fall into this category. No one ever matured by being told, "Just grow up." It's not necessary to tell someone who's just broken something, "Don't be so careless." He already feels badly as it is. It's not necessary to point out when others make mistakes, unless you could really improve their behavior by doing so. If not, then it's best to be quiet. So this is an interesting thing where somebody makes a mistake and then we tell them about it. They already feel shocking. If you think about it, if you bump your car and you come home and your husband says, "Well, I told you to drive carefully," it doesn't help you, or to be yelled at. You already feel shocking. So we do that a lot to our kids. And that's one of the things she's calling as an ego victory. Like, "I knew you shouldn't do it, and look, you went and did it." So you don't want to do that. You rather want to support the person and go, "It's not nice when you break something. Let me help you with it," rather than go, "Oh, you're such an idiot. I would never do it like that. It wouldn't happen under my watch." We do that not realizing it often, where we have this sort of arrogant way about ourselves. So don't give your personal ego victory at another expense. Rather, be of the disciples of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace, loving thy fellow creatures and drawing them near to the Torah. So when we criticize people or judge them in that way, it's not being very loving. So loving is, especially when something's just happened, the most loving thing to do is not point out, "Oh, I told you not to do that," or "You shouldn't be so careless," or something like that. They've just done it. You rather either say, "Let me help you clean it up," and then you might say something, for the next time, "I'll show you where you should put it." But often you don't need to, because the reason things are accidents is because they're accidents. We all break things and mess up things. It doesn't help to tell someone, "Don't be stupid." It happens. So you rather say, "It's accidents happen, let me help you clean it up." And that's a really important thing, to realize that, and it's so, it's like Jackie Mason's joke, he says, he jokes about how Jewish men are so bad at fixing things. So he says, that he's driving around, finding out this will apply to you. Husband and wife are driving along and the car just suddenly stops and gets stuck. And the guy doesn't know what to do. And the wife says, "You broke it." The first thing is, "You broke it." And then the guy goes and he opens the bonnet and he looks inside at the engine. He goes, "Ooh, it's busy in here." But the Jewish wife, his joke would be to say, "Well, it's you should have known, and you broke it." So it doesn't help to do that, and that's what a symbolic ego victory is. As if in that moment, as if we know any better of how it should be fixed. And it doesn't help anybody to do that. So just be aware of it, because often we do it, and often we do it by the looks in our eyes when people are telling us something, like people we work with, and we sort of look like, "Yeah, there they go." That doesn't help. It's not nice. It's actually all forms of Lashon Hara. So to be aware your own ego is where you're feeling superior, like, "I wouldn't do that." That's what we're really saying. "I know better." And you want to put that aside and rather just go, "How can I be empathic?" And remember how you feel when you make a mistake and how you'd like to be treated. That's always the go-to. How you would rather want someone just go, "Oh, it happens to everybody," or "Don't worry," or "Let me fix it with you, let me help you." Okay, number 8 is practice detachment from all that is beyond your control. By learning to divert the attention, a person can have control over being afraid or not. This is a powerful statement. It implies that you have a great deal of control over your inner environment, your thoughts, impulses, sensations, and feelings. By learning to divert your attention and focus on your goals rather than the minor disturbances or temporary aches and pains which may be affecting you. So this is today purely acceptance and commitment therapy, but this is Torah, and it was written by her in the 80s, and it's all based on Torah. What it's saying is that when your thoughts and memories and sensations come along and go, what's going to happen to this child in the future, and then you don't sleep all night, that means you're letting them control you. But when you divert your attention and you focus on your goal, if your goal is to go to sleep, then what you're doing is you're able to surrender control. You're not actually letting your thoughts and feelings control you. Divert your attention towards positive thoughts and your muscles towards positive activities. When you have obsessive thoughts of past pains, present problems, or future discomforts, so it could be past, present, or future, just divert your thoughts into something positive that you could be doing instead. Harmful impulses to hurt yourself or someone else. Physical sensations which you know are temporary and are not indicators of a serious ailment, and negative emotional states. And what I always say with physical sensations, I have a lot of patients with health anxiety, and every pain and ache they get, they're worried it's something serious, and they go from doctor to doctor and whatever. And one of the ways of working with them is to just know it'll pass, and if it's really serious, the symptoms will get worse. So I always explain it like this, if you've ever been to the emergency room, you go and the nurse sees you straight away, and then they leave you in the waiting room. And it's actually a form of triage. I'm not saying they don't always do it just for this reason, but they say the waiting room is full. They'll put you in there, and you're triage. So I once took a friend there and she pulled her ankle, and we were there like from 8 p.m. till 3 a.m. No one looked at her. Because on a triage system, it was just a sore foot. She wanted the emergency, right? But people were coming in with heart attacks and all kinds of really needed immediate attention. So it's the same thing. You might have a sore ankle, or you might have an ache or a pain. But if you just imagine you in the waiting room and the doctor told you to wait for a few hours, it would either generally pass, or the next day you go to the GP and get it sorted out. So we always act like we're in the emergency room, but most things just come and go, or they can wait till the next day, or whatever. So for example, in order to go to that interview, I ignored the heart palpitations and butterflies in my stomach. In order to lift my spirits, I detached myself from the hostile, silent treatment which a family member was giving me at the moment, because I knew that if I got really upset about it, it would only last longer. I left the house and turned away all thoughts except the pleasure of listening to the shiur I attended. So we can choose which radio channel. Are we going to listen to that person's negative comments about us, or am I going to listen to a podcast? We can choose what messages we're going to let come in. In order to serve the customers in our store in a patient and pleasant manner, I practice detachment towards their poor manners and nasty looks, and focus on my goal of demonstrating Torah ethics as well as making a living. So this is a huge one. Like if you're working and you're dealing with difficult people, you can either keep focusing. I've got a patient like this, and every time I see him, he goes, my customers are so rude. He's in a design kind of business, and he deals with the very upmarket people, makes a fortune of money. Everything costs a fortune. So they come in and they're very, very picky. Now, he's been in this business for 20 years. So I'll give you an example. It's not what he does, but let's say he was a wedding dress designer, but he's in the $20,000 range, right? So the type of people that are walking in for a wedding dress are very picky. So although he's been doing it for 20 years, he'll come to a session and go, these people, I can't bear them anymore. They're so rude. They're never happy with anything. But that's the nature of what he does, right? And then he'll design, and they say, can I have a copy of the design? And then he knows they're going to take it somewhere else. But I've heard the same thing over and over, because obviously what happens, right? And he's not solutionizing. But the point is, if we have difficult clients, and that's our job, or difficult kids in the classroom, or whatever, we focus on making a living. What do I need to do to make the living? You know, how do I need to perfect it? Do I need to put systems like what we did with him is to say you don't take copies of the design, that people actually, they have 2 free sessions and after that they've got to pay. So we actually put a few practical things in. You can do that. But also you focus on, I'm going to be patient even if they are rude, because they are wealthy people and this is how they behave. But rather than keep going on about who do they think they are and just because they're wealthy, these are his clientele. They put food on his table. So this is the thing. We focus on, I'm going to be patient, I'm going to be understanding, I'm going to work on myself and not focus on their behavior. Which doesn't mean you let people treat you badly, but it's the stewing we're talking about. How dare they, how can they, that kind of thing. So that's the nature of your work, you need to do that. So you're practicing some level of detachment from what, because too much condemnation and judging people, you're just stewing yourself. So you go, okay, this is what that person does. Now I have a choice. What tool can I use? And this is the tool of detachment. I'm not going to worry. This is who they are. I'm going to work on, this is the given situation. Now how do I respond? So there are times when this discipline is very difficult. You feel as if you have to bolt the door and triple lock it against allowing entry to destructive thoughts. Get used to saying, oh, this is interesting. An interesting challenge, instead of jumping to condemnations or fearful predictions. So when you, again, in acceptance and commitment therapy, we talk about be a curious scientist, as if you've never seen anything like this before. So each time you have a funny sensation, we do it like with health anxiety, you go, oh, that's interesting, I've got this pain over here. I wonder what it looks like. Let's see how long it lasts. Is it getting worse? Is it getting better? And you show this interest in it, and that already is a form of detachment as opposed to going, I'm dying. But you can do it with a difficult co-worker. Instead of every time knowing what they're going to do, you go, oh, that's interesting. Today she's yelling at me. Wonder what else she'll do now. Let's see how the day progresses. And it's a nice tool to detach from it.
Rather than it's like somatic, they do talk about it in somatic, instead of fighting it, you just let it pass through you.
That's right.
And half of the healing is just letting it.
Correct.
Sue's really good, by the way, like that. When we get these passive aggressive emails that I can pick up the tone and I get quite defensive. She just answers the question without answering the tone. She's so good at just being very sure. I'll look into it. And I'm like, I don't know how you got to that from that, but it's the same sort of thing. Like she doesn't focus on the tone. She hears the question, she answers the question. She's professional, and she sends it back. Well, I've read it.
It's a lot of strength.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how I can't actually do it.
Yeah.
I should get there,
And
but
a lot
right
of
now,
not feeling like it's attacking you.
but it's a shit.
Like it takes a lot of self-confidence
Yeah.
to push back and say it's not about me, it's about them.
So I wanted to say, don't use words like push back or strength, because that's
Yes.
already exhausting. I've got to get rid of it. It's more about a different approach. It's a choice. I can push back.
It's not that she's strong in character.
No, it's just that you're going, I want to respond to this in a professional way. So I'm going to focus on being professional regardless of what they're doing. What is the professional response to this? So it's about,
Detaching.
Yeah.
Got it.
that's it, yeah.
So much less exhausting.
Yeah. The minute you get into strength and pushing back,
Yeah.
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
So it's about what you're saying, just letting it flow through. Okay, that's interesting behavior. How do I want to respond to it? Just let it go, especially if someone is consistently like that, or it's in your business. You know, when you're dealing with difficult clients, it's going, every now and then they're going to come along. So it's, oh, another interesting one. This is how they are. Now, how should I deal with this, you know?
Lots of interesting people floating around.
Always. So interesting. So many interesting people. Thoughts can be like stray cats. I love this expression. Once you feed them, they keep coming back.
Good imagery.
Yeah. When you stop entertaining those thoughts, they may seem to even be more insistent. However, you make a firm decision to ignore them and to turn your attention to other matters, they will eventually go away. So often in the beginning when you're going, go away, they don't. But if you make a conscious decision, oh, there's the stray cat, there's that thought again, and we talk about in acceptance and commitment therapy, giving it a name. There is my insecure thought. There is my not good enough thought. There is my critical parent thought. Okay, there it is. That's interesting. It's the third time it's been here today. Okay, now let me focus on my work. So you notice it, and then you make the choice to focus on something else. But by making it interesting, or giving it a label as a stray cat or something, it makes it different. It makes it easier. If you cannot divert your attention, use the mental helicopter technique. You can imagine that although your body is in the midst of a stressful situation, your mind is observing the scene from a position of calm safety, patiently waiting until the commotion or pain subsides. A part of you may feel frantic and nervous. There's not much you can do about that, but another part of you can be protected and protective, untouched by the chaos and pain, and trusting of your ability to cope. And that is the part which gives you a sense of calm reassurance in the midst of a storm. So what you do is you go, all of this is going around me. I'm going to observe what's going on. I'm going to center myself. So again, this is so acceptance and commitment therapy. I can observe what's going on, and I'm going to choose what I want to do about it, but I'm not going to get into the commotion. So then when you envisage that you're in a helicopter, because a helicopter can hover, that you're watching. And another way we talk about it with trauma work is we go, imagine you watching that scene through a projector. Or today you could just imagine you've got your phone up, right here, watch everybody. You're not in the show. People go to theatre or whatever, they're filming. They're actually not watching the show. They're so busy filming. When did we go the other night? Maybe it was one of the concerts. People were just filming the concert. I was clapping and singing and listening to the music, and I realized if I was doing that, I couldn't be watching the concert. I certainly couldn't be clapping. So that's a way of doing it. Imagine you filming it, you're not fully in it. That is the way, that's the mental helicopter image.
But the hard work is to get to that position and not being caught straight away on the situation, because that would be the first reaction.
Yeah,
to
correct.
Be upset or to get overwhelmed and all of that.
So that's how we go, okay, suddenly I'm aware that I'm aware I'm in temper. And the tool would be, this detachment tool is, let me pick up my phone and let me start filming it like an interested observer rather than being sucked in. That's what the tool is. Yeah. I used to spend the entire school year in temper at one teacher or another for this fault or that. Now I offer my help if the teacher's open to suggestions. Sure, you'd love this. I organise the other parents to oust teachers who are downright abusive and use violence against the children who humiliate them constantly. I don't know what school this is. And if the teacher is the kind that simply must be born in silence, this is the most hilarious one, then I force myself to turn chilly towards him and help my children practice detachment. It's better than stewing in resentment. I'm sorry, this example is just beyond. Okay, forget that example. I'm just reading one.
We should show it to all our parents and be like, skills have changed, just be grateful.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
So this one is about getting older and how much time I've spent in temper about getting older, as if that's going to stop the process. I have to always remind myself that my looks are not a reflection of my worth, nor is my mental agility going to determine my value in this world. I have to practice detachment and be philosophical about aging and keep my mind focused on Torah and mitzvahs. Ultimately, that's all that really counts. So it's like this with anything. The idea is Torah and mitzvahs. Instead of focusing on I'm losing my beauty, what do I have to do at this age and stage in my life? What Torah and mitzvahs am I supposed to be doing? Because all these things are a natural part of life. And the same thing, you will often have a teacher that your kids don't like. You can spend the year stewing, or you can find a way to work with it in the best possible way. But focus, what is the Torah way of handling this? As long as it's not abusive. Obviously that's something different. But a lot of things that drive us crazy, we should just detach from them.
Can it be speaking about it, but in detachment of emotion from it, like not to be caught in emotion, but speak about it?
Yeah.
Like, because there are for sure stuff that's disturbing us, and we do want to talk about it, but not to be emotional about it.
Yeah. And also there's a way of being emotional. I mean, sometimes if something's really bothering you, you might want to bring it to Emmet or talk to a friend. But it's, let's say something is ongoing. Like I'm saying, if you're in business and every now and then you'll have a difficult client. rather than each time, like this patient of mine get totally brought, you have to find a way. I wanted to say to him, I could never, like, at which point are you going to say, this is the industry I work in, these are customers are from Double Bay, they're always going to be like this. You have to find a way of managing it. And whichever business we're in, there will be issues. So we have, but another example would be like if there's a family dynamic. Again, not if there's any abuse, but sometimes you'll have a family dynamic where you'll see, let's say, two of your kids have a certain banter, or maybe your husband has a relationship with one of the kids. And it's nothing abusive, there's nothing bad, but each time you're interfering, sometimes you actually have to just work on, that's interesting, that's their relationship. Everybody's safe. I don't have to keep interfering, and you get into the helicopter and you let them get on with their lives. And that's really important, especially as your kids get older. It's very important that you allow them to have their relationships, and it's not always easy because you want to fix it all the time, but you can't. As long as everybody's safe, you just get into the helicopter and you let them be. Okay, the next tool is there an issue of right and wrong in the event? This tool helps you to avoid condemnation when you notice someone acting in a way which you dislike, because you realize that his behavior does not form in the realm of halakha. Rather, you take the secure thought that the behavior can be tolerated because there's no wrongdoing. And I love this tool, and of course it's so much easier if you observe halakha, because you realize so many of the things you stew about, there's no right or wrong. It's just a difference of opinion or taste. So we don't have to stew about it. Example, my husband thought I was wrong for wanting to go to work, but when he saw how much happier I was, he realized that he should alter his belief system and avoid trying to squeeze me into his rigid image of motherhood. So that's a huge one, whether mother should work or not. I'm not wrong for not wanting to spend the entire Pesach with my wife's relatives. I don't mind 1 day, but 8 days too much for me. So no one can say to you that you have to spend all 8 days. There's no right or wrong. There's no halacha. You can't eat chametz on Pesach. That's halachic. So when you feel you're getting stewed up by these family things, just ask yourself, is there any halacha involved? Is there anyone breaching halacha? And if not, some families do spend the whole 8 days together and some don't. Some people do this and some don't. There's no right or wrong. You save yourself a lot of heartache by letting people be who they are and accepting your own unalterable personality traits. Just be careful not to deliberately hurt others or become complacent in the process. So that's the thing. You can't just go, well, I can do it my way if you're going to hurt somebody. And that's a very interesting point, because it came, maybe it was in the 70s, when there was this concept, I think it was, when this whole free love movement started in the late 60s. And there was this whole idea of, as long as you're consenting adults. If you're two consenting adults, you can do whatever you want to do. So if a man wants to have an affair, or you want to have an affair, and you and the girlfriend agree, him and the girlfriend agree, and nobody knows, then it doesn't really matter, because they're two adults who are deciding. There's no right or wrong. So it was very much the push from the 60s that everything's okay as long as you two adults agree and no one knows or no one's getting hurt. So from a halakhic point of view, no, adultery is wrong. Whether people know or they don't know, it's wrong. So this idea that you can't use this tool to go, I can do whatever I want. I'm not inviting my mother-in-law because I really don't like her. And you don't have to, but if it hurts your husband and your children who are not going to see their grandmother, you can't just do it. So from a Torah point of view, we would say it might not be halakhic, although it is halakhic to honor parents, but sometimes you can't just use it as a way out of not doing the right thing. So to really think about it, we're talking more about the kind of things that people get annoyed about, like I always give the example where you sit at a wedding. If you sit at this table or that table, does it really matter? Okay. Okay, we'll do one more. Learn to function with discomfort. Most of life's aches and pains are not permanent. About these we can say it's distressing, not dangerous. It is necessary to remind ourselves about the lack of danger, because the physical reaction to a sudden loss or disappointment may be all out of proportion to the ultimate meaning of the event. Even when the discomfort is great, there are moments of less or no pain. We can often say, bear the discomfort and comfort will come. So we need to know, as long as nothing dangerous is happening, this is going to pass. All discomfort passes, and anyway, it's not unbearable. So while sitting next to a loud and talkative person on the plane, I told myself to bear the discomfort and comfort would come when I got off. I had to sleep on the hospital floor next to my son's bed because there were no extra mattresses. I just kept being thankful that he was out of danger and kept endorsing myself for bearing all the discomfort that his illness had brought. And I'll tell you the other place where I've used this tool, and I often say this in terms of endorsing oneself, is when you're a mother, often no one knows the discomfort you're going through. So if you've got a newborn baby and you're up all night with the baby, no one knows. And no one's going to give you a pat on the back for saying, you know, well done for not throttling your baby, or well done for sitting up the whole night. So that's why you endorse yourself. But when you are going through it, to go, I can bear the discomfort, as opposed to going, oh, we're never going to get through tomorrow. And if I don't get enough sleep, I have people all this time saying, if I don't get enough sleep, you know, I'm never going to cope. So when you're going through a difficult thing, I can bear the discomfort. I'll get through this, it's okay. It's comfort is a need, not a want. Is a want, not a need. So this story is given in the name of a great and wise woman, Rebbetzin Avtzon of Detroit. I've actually heard it given in a few different people's names, so you might have heard it in someone else's name. She's a mother of 15 children. She used to tell those who came to her for advice, do not pray for comfort. Pray for the strength to bear discomfort. That philosophy enabled her to bear many difficulties with a degree of faith that inspires all who know her. Comfort should never be a supreme value. If it is your object in life, then you will constantly be upset by food, which isn't prepared to your specifications, people who don't meet your standards, and material possessions which break down or wear out. Endorse yourself for the fact that you remain functional even when you don't feel well. Endorse yourself for carrying on with determination and confidence when life does not go smoothly. So the idea is to tell yourself, I'll get through this, and it is uncomfortable, but I'll get through this. But at the end of the day, to know that if we can endorse ourselves, which will help us get through it. But I have to say there's an interesting thing, because I was once giving the shir, and there was a Chabad woman, a Rebbetzin, was in my shir, I'm talking about many years ago. And she didn't agree with this. She said it's not a Chabad way, so I just want to put it there. And I've had different people say different things. She was saying, when she said pray for strength to bear discomfort, this Rebbetzin, who I respect a lot, said to me, the Chabad way is that you pray for comfort. If it doesn't come, you can bear the discomfort. But we don't go, it's definitely going to be uncomfortable, so I just want... So I heard the story, a different one, where someone was at a wedding, and he went up to his rabbi and he said, please give me a brocha that I should have a good and easy and comfortable life. And he said, I can't give you a brocha for that, but I'll give you a brocha that you'll have the strength to bear all the trials that you're going to have. So this Rebbetzin was saying it's not a Chabad way. We don't preempt that it's going to happen. We go, we want everything. We want Mashiach now. We want abundance in material and spiritual things, and we expect and ask Hashem for every. Don't expect we ask Hashem for all of that. We don't expect it's going to be tough. I mean, but we have it this way. We have to put up with it. Then we can say it's okay. So I just wanted to put it out there that it may or may not be. So we might as well just ask for. We want a comfortable life, and then if we don't get it, in the unfortunate case, we can bear the discomfort. So which is an interesting little difference. Yeah. So all of these are the tools, different ones of the tools of how to use them.